Well, basically, I'm not here as usual to talk about, to tell you about the latest developments in ETSI, which is something that I have been doing for a few days, but talking about our program and to teach you a little bit of Spanish. It's what was única means, because never pronounce it única. This is a Spanish word, it's pronounced única. The same time that the airline, the Spanish airline, is never Iberia, it's Iberia. This is something that you had to. Okay, so that's an única means, as you can imagine, because there is a very similar word in English, is unique. Well, more than unique is only, or one and only. And this is why this is called, is entitled as a one cloud to bring them all. That's for those of you fond of Tolkien, but make ring some bell in your minds. So this is the program that we are using precisely for the top left goal, which comes in our network transformation program that is, has been called Core-Ready internally, which is about not only, for sure it's not only the telco cloud transformation, something that is very important when you're running in more than 20 different countries with a wide variety of socio-economical development. Something that is important as well is, first of all, address legacy evolution. You cannot address the problems with the network the same in a country like Germany, for example, and a country like Guatemala, for example, just to, you have to be flexible and agile, and evolving the legacy is something that is key as well. Converging our transport networks, our optical networks, and the IP services we're providing, etc., is essential as well, based mostly on SDN principles, and everything from the legacy evolution to the telco cloud, passing by the idea of converging and addressing by SDN the evolution of the transport and IP network. At the end, the goal is precisely end-to-end automation. It's end-to-end automation, not only for making things cheaper for us, is as well to find what I have called the holy grail of transformation. It's covering all there. All there is making the network much more customer-centric. And think in terms of automation, the way in which if you can automate the network, you can address much better customer needs, and you can do something that is extremely important as well, is that to expose certain aspects of how the network is working, which is the status of the network to the customers as well. So they not only understand, well, they are not only able to require or request certain properties of the network, so they can understand better how they can request those properties and whether some of the requests were not satisfied, were not, because they were not realistic, they were not able to be matched against the requests of others. The network is a shared resource, etc. And well, this is as you can imagine, here is the list of the final landscape to which we would like to achieve, including certain aspects that are, well, you can imagine is general and is something that is desirable for any kind of network infrastructure, like being moldable, being innovative, agile, versatile. This is something that, but there are a couple of things that I think are extremely important here, which are when we're talking about having an homogeneous infrastructure, which is something that somehow is not exactly a unique infrastructure. And it's something that is important that the name is there because it's appealing and it's something that makes you think that it's the only one, the one that will bring them all. But we're realistic in that respect. We know that what we are trying to address is precisely to have an homogeneous infrastructure that will allow us to simplify operations. And these are the two main goals we have. Think about, it's not, we don't intend, because it would be completely against the laws of nature, to have an infrastructure that is built of completely regular components, but it's about that we can manage it, we can deploy services, we can run different functions in an homogeneous way that allows us to simplify how we do things. We have been for a long time, there is another slide with a timeline, etc. But well, this is a little bit of self-appraisal. I think we are self-applause. We think we have been pushing the markets, and we have been trying to lead this transformation way for path for quite a while. This is where somebody positioned us, some independent. This is independent, I promise. Body position us with respect to innovation and when it comes to the NFV SDN uptake. And well, there are some statements about how hard we're pushing, and I must say we have been trying to push very hard on this. It's something that we take very seriously, and in fact, to tell you, to make a full disclosure, my impression is that I was hired by Telefónica 6 years ago because of this, which is, I'm not sure it was good for Telefónica, but well, I have enjoyed it quite a few times. So basically, something that is very important is that from the beginning, we are trying to push the market by not only, well, telling our vendors what they have to do or asking them things, but by doing two additional things that are very important. One is participating in how the new technology was going to be specified. From the beginning, we are part of the founding fathers or the founding parents, to be correct, because at least there were two ladies in the group. We are part of the founding parents of the NFV, even of the NFV concept, and the NFV acronym was coined in a meeting. We were there, and we have been trying as well to do something that is showing by doing. With our limited resources, it's true that we don't have thousands of developers, but with our limited resources, we have been trying to demonstrate that the technology was feasible, demonstrate that there was what we were asking for was doable, and showing that it was doable because we had something that was running and was operative and was there just to be shown. And something that is important as well when talking about this and the motivation, etc., it is about what is behind. We're talking about automation, we're talking about reduction of costs, we're talking about customer satisfaction, and very often something that is very commonly thought in terms, and this is something that we use very much internally to show why we are here and why we are doing this. Because it's not only about simplifying the deployment of services. It's not only reducing the time to market, which is extremely important for sure, and that's why that's part, the left-hand part of the diagram is bigger, is that you can save several weeks in deploying the new service since the moment you conceive it and you you start the procurement of the new systems till you are in the position of providing it, which is, again, let me say, is extremely important, but there are many other advantages that are to deal with elasticity. And again, typically, what you get always is the same comment is about, oh, elasticity is great, because if demand raises, you can address the increase in the demand. That's true as well. And this is the common, I would say, the common wisdom of the common reason. Something that is very important is that, I don't know why, probably it's because we have this, in the Western world or the capitalist economy or whatever, we have this obsession with continuous growth, is that nobody thinks about what happens when the demand decreases. Which will happen. It will happen with any service, because the services, like everything, has a life cycle, and at the end, you have a peak of demand, and then it goes down. Or even, well, you have for sure cyclic behavior or whatever. One of the important things of having an homogeneous infrastructure is that you can reuse it for other services in the moment demand decreases. And this is something that it has become part of our business analysis for quite a while, since a colleague of mine decided to include it and decided to include the calculations. And the important thing is that it's one of the main reasons that we are using right now. The reusability of the infrastructure, that you can address the same, allocate the same infrastructure when the demand disappears. These are the plans that we have. I'm going now to start talking about where we are, where we plan to be. This is the sketch of the evolution. And this is sketch because it's a very, very general one. With the idea is to start from a mainframe environment in which everything was fixed and a very tightly associated hardware and software implementation, to the moment in which we are right now, which is in which we are following the, let's say, an approach in NFV that is close to the traditional cloud approach, in which we have is a set of data centers, of POPs of Unica, in which what we have is VNFs running on top of an infrastructure that is still localized in dedicated places with a huge number of machines, an homogeneous infrastructure, but very much centralized. What we foresee in the future is an evolution into a highly distributed environment in which we will be able to address edge computing, services that are demanding in terms of communication properties like latency or loss, etc., in which we will have a combination of data centers like the ones we're deploying right now, this Unica DCs, and something that we call Unico. That is the second lesson of Spanish today. Unica and Unico are the same, but Unica refers to females, Unico refers to males. And Unico is not exactly, I think it says Unica CO, so that's a little bit the... So the idea is to have a highly distributed cloud with a centralized component and a set of small points of presence connected by a high-speed network controlled by SDN for sure, and in which we will, and there are several challenges coming with how you achieve a consistent orchestration in this highly distributed infrastructure, and how you guarantee, for example, properties like security. That is essential here as well. So far, what we have done is that we already have we have deployed Unica in 4 domains in 4 of our operations in these countries, one in Europe and the other 3 in Latin America. So far, though the current Unica deployment is based on the equipment of one single provider, from the very beginning, we have been committed to onboard functions from different ones. And well, we started with the low-hanging fruit. Our big vendors, our trusted providers were selected, and we have already onboarded the VNFs, and we have them ready for deployment according to the different needs and the different requirements of our business units, both in the control and data plane. Just we want to exercise the whole, both planes, not focus only in control aspects or the other way around. We have a long queue of VNFs coming for validation. So far, if you look at them, they are still functions that are very much associated with the current functionality that you have in a box. We are confident that in the future, we will be able to have a higher disaggregation of this, and instead of talking about a vRouter, we will be talking about a vForwarding plane, a vControl plane, a vBGP, which is the name? Responder it is, right? Things like that, much better. Instead of a vSecurity gateway, we will be talking about individual functions that a security gateway can achieve. And well, we are considering more than 30 vendors. Probably there are some logos that are missing there from the moment we prepare these slides to now. We have VNF reference lab that is taking care of evaluating this and seeing how this fits on the infrastructure and fits with the current and the future orchestration mechanism that is is key for us. So this is just to illustrate in a timeline how the Unica has been evolved and how standards in general, and in particular, the orchestration mechanisms have evolved inside Telefónica. So we started, you can think that the first ideas around network virtualization and playing with this were started in 2008. The term NFV was coined in 2012. We had been working on that. Unica, the Unica concept, the idea about running this homogeneous infrastructure was started a little bit later than we started thinking about participating in the NFV group. And I would like to stress a couple just the name in English, milestones in all the process. One is that when we started the NFV labs, because the seed of everything we have done with respect to orchestration happened inside the NFV labs, that were precisely experimenting on how functions will be deployed on the Unica infrastructure, and we started finding that, well, the orchestration mechanisms available so far were not satisfactory. We started working on something that was called OpenMano. OpenMano evolved with time on something that is called OSM right now, Open Source Mano. Those of you who were here on Monday, hopefully, were in this same room. It was right. It was there was an OSM workshop. OSM has grown up to more than 80 members participating in the open source projects, and we have very recently announced release 3. That is the 4th release. It's something I insist very much. OpenMano is a serious programming environment, and as any serious language, we started everything with 0, no good one. So we're talking the 4th release that is called 3. And it's the one that is committed to be production ready, and that implies that OSM will start orchestrating Unica deployments very soon. And this is something that, it's not there. So I'm sorry about that, because it's so recent that I guess it was a couple of days before coming here. So I have many other things to do. Among other things, my laptop crashed, and I have no time to update the slides. And well, we are moving precisely in the way of evolving towards 5G, hopefully in the 2020 or a little bit. There should be. Now, so when it comes precisely with the 5G, something that we have started recently, which is a place that we call 5tonic. 5tonic is a part that you can make all, originally it was called 5G tonic, but I was told that it was too direct. So we put the G apart, and it's an open innovation center in which what we want is precisely playing with potential 5G services, use it as a showroom for customers and for vertical sectors that could be interested in 5G. And one of the things when it connects with Unica precisely is to use it as a test lab for how to evolve Unica and the services running on Unica and the software controlling and orchestrating Unica into a full 5G ready infrastructure. We started these more than almost 2 years ago. It's up and running, and we're participating in several research projects. And if you're interested, again, there is several companies participating here, around 12 companies that are playing with us and are helping us in making the network evolve towards 5G. Just to finish, these are the short-term challenges we have, is deploying in 4 additional domains. And the first one, you can imagine for a company that is based in Spain, is always a little bit delicate to go to Spain to deploy anything. I can imagine it's the same, I don't know, for Orange when deploying anything in France, or for Deutsche Telekom deploying anything in Germany. So, well, and I understand this is a sign of maturity and confidence in that Unica is able to deliver, because otherwise it would have been a little bit difficult to be allowed to go to the mothership and make the deployment there. And the idea is that the goals are to cover 20% of the user plane and 50% of the data plane with the next VNFs to be onboarded. And well, in midterms is, we want to industrialize the process. We want to make it completely as seamless and automated as possible. It's about eating your own dog food, etc. So we are not doing anything that, we are not requesting our operations anything that we cannot do on their own. Something which is the OSM full integration doesn't mean only to have a production-ready OSM. It means to integrate OSM with our business support systems and make it an integral part of the business management. Make network visibility and mutual user visibility something that is for real and as much automated as possible, and leverage this for data-based, data-enhanced management. Database sounds a little bit strange. Well, be much more agile when onboarding the BNFs that have high demands and the maintenance and the updates, etc. And well, as I said before, it's all about automation, but it's all about automation not only because of us, it's all about automation as well to increase customer satisfaction and network usability and availability. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, excellent timing, Diego. Any questions? I could take one or two. One maybe. We're out of time on this slot.
Thank you for the presentation. You mentioned 4 vendors that are currently exist in your Unica infrastructure. So how do you allocate the overall structure between the vendors?
You mean the other vendors?
No, those 4 vendors.
No, those 4 vendors were selected for a very, very clear reason, which is pure practicality, and the connection with them is well, they are part of our normal providers worldwide.
I mean, how do you allocate them in the overall architecture? I mean that infrastructure.
No, but those vendors are for the VNFs.
VNFs.
Not for Unica. I'm talking about the VNFs. We selected 4 different vendors to demonstrate that they were able to onboard on Unica as it is now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. Thank you. We have to move on to the next presentation. Thank you, Diego. Thank you.